Well, new questions today about the president's health care overhaul and whether it is holding him back in some key swing states this election. According to the latest polls from Quinnipiac, more voters in Florida, Ohio, and Wisconsin, all critical swing states, say they disapprove of the president's health care law than approve of it. And voters in all three of those states say health care is a big issue for them in this election. Joining me now, Simon Rosenberg. He's president and founder of NDN, a think tank and advocacy organization. He's also a former campaign advisor to President Clinton. And Mark Thiessen is a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute and a former speechwriter for President George W. Bush. So here you have Florida, Ohio, and Wisconsin. And I don't know, did you think by this point, Simon, that the health care law would have died down a little as an issue? Because according to these polls, it hasn't. It's number 2, right behind the economy, as the most important issue for voters in those states.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, health care is a big issue in the United States. It's always polled at number 2 or number 3 over the last 15 to 20 years. And I think it's also in front of mind in these states because Mitt Romney is running ads right now tying the president's Medicare plan to the overall health care plan. So there's actually ads in these states that are pushing this into people's front of mind. But remember, Megan, for all the challenges the president faces in selling his health care plan, and let's be clear, it's been a tough sell for him over the last couple of years, in all 3 of these states, he's winning handily. And right now, he's still winning the election. And Mitt Romney, as Chris said earlier, Chris Stirwalt said, has got to do something to change the dynamic if he's going to win. He
is winning there, although he's only got a 1-point margin in Florida. In Ohio, it's now a 1.8% margin, and in Wisconsin, it's a 2.6% margin, according to the Real Clear Politics average of all polls. Right. Mark, on the other hand, even though Mitt Romney probably likes to see that the president is struggling with the people on the health care law in these swing states, Mitt Romney is struggling on the Medicare issue, because when folks were polled about Medicare in those states, it suggested that they do not much like the Paul Ryan plan when it comes to Medicare, and they also think that Medicare is very important. Look at that. 50% of those in Florida say it's extremely important, 45 in Ohio, 42 in Wisconsin.
Yep, no, I think that's very true. But, you know, Ryan just got onto the ticket, and it's going to take a little time for them to get their message out on that. But look, Obamacare is deeply unpopular, and particularly with independents. We know that 3/4 of independents oppose Obamacare, and in Florida, 89%. In Wisconsin, 85% and 81% in Ohio say that it's going to be very important to their decision. And it's not just, as you point out, Obamacare is a standalone issue. It also is how it intersects with the economy and with Medicare. When it comes to the economy, thanks to the Supreme Court decision, we now know that the individual mandate is a middle-class tax increase that's going to hit 3 million Americans with $2 billion in new taxes. We know that the medical device tax is something that's going to hit, that's already causing the businesses to cancel plants and lay off workers, and 3/4 of small business owners say that Obamacare is hurting job creation. So Romney is going to make the case that Obamacare is not just bad for health care, it's bad for the economy. And when it comes to Medicare, as you point out, that's a huge issue for these voters. It's going to blunt Obama's senior scare strategy, because it's very hard for Obama to say that Romney and Ryan are threatening Medicare when he's the one who cut $716 billion out of Medicare to pay for Obamacare. It's going to be very hard for him to say that Romney and Ryan want to destroy Medicare as we know it, when he's the one who, his own Medicare actuary said that half of seniors would lose their Medicare Advantage plans under this. So I think it's going to actually hurt him.
The internal numbers on Medicare say that the plan's going to go bankrupt by 2024. So somebody's got to do something about it. I don't know whether, you know, the viewers and the voters can make up their minds about who's going to have the right plan, but something bad's going to happen in Medicare, Simon, if something's not done. Do the voters get their arms around all? I mean, just listen to us talking about it. It's so confusing. It's like Obama cut existing Medicare, but Romney wants to cut future Medicare. Oh, but no, he doesn't. It's only for the under 55 set, but it's all going bankrupt anyway. I mean, do you think that people, when they go to the polls, are going to have an understanding of these nuances?
I think if you look at the poll you're referring to today, the numbers on Medicare are very bad for Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, just based on the polls you're bringing up here today, Megan. And I think that tactically, Mark, my question is, was it smart for the Republicans to link Medicare and the Obama health care plan together? Because they're losing the Medicare argument, even if they're doing okay on the health care argument. And it seems that they may have actually, if they lump them together, it looks like it's going to make it easier for Barack Obama to win the overall health care debate. And so I think possibly they made a mistake by linking them together, given the unpopularity of the Romney-Ryan position on Medicare.
Do you think that's true, Mark, or do you think people's feelings about Obamacare, been so debated in this country for a couple of years now, are pretty ingrained?
And Megan, only marginally negative, to be clear.
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
No, that's not true. It's very much a negative, and the people who support it versus the people who oppose it, it's a wide gap. And particularly in Florida, and particularly among seniors, the seniors are the most opposed to it. So I think it's actually very smart of them to link the two, because the fact is that seniors are going to be very upset when they learn that Obamacare, that Obama is paying for Obamacare by raiding their Medicare. That they're going to be very upset when they're going to learn that they're going to lose their Medicare. Half of them are going to lose their Medicare Advantage plans in order to pay for Obamacare. So I think it's very smart, because it ties the two issues together, something that they already oppose to something as a threat to something they care about, and it'll hurt him in swing states, like particularly in Florida.
That was a point that Dana Perino was making last week on The Five after Paul Ryan was nominated, named as the running mate to Mitt Romney. Simon, she was saying it may have been a brilliant move if it was thought out to this extent by the Romney camp, because Obama got a pass. President Obama got mostly a pass on the cuts to Medicare when Obamacare was passed, because everybody was so focused on what was happening to the healthcare system. And now with Paul Ryan joining the Republican ticket and the focus on his Medicare plans, it sort of gave the Republicans another chance to go back at what Obamacare did to Medicare.
Right, and of course, Paul Ryan actually in his budget has the same cuts to Medicare as Barack Obama does in his plan, right? So I don't know at the end of the day that they're going to be able to really create that much of a distinction. Megan, I really think this election is going to come down to two things. The Republicans, by picking Paul Ryan, have made it clear that socially extreme views are going to be fair game in this election, which they weren't previously. And second is it reinforces that they have their economic strategy is so obsessed with cutting taxes that they're going to blow a hole in the deficit, and that they're going to starve the country of needed investments. I think that's where this is going to be debated. The health care debate fits into that, because it's amazing to me right now that the Republicans are claiming they're fiscally responsible when they want to increase spending on Medicare, increase spending on defense, and cut taxes. They're the ones who become the fiscally responsible party. Barack's being attacked for cutting an entitlement program right now. I thought that's what we all wanted to do in order to balance the budget. So I think that the Democrats are winning these debates, and I think Mitt Romney's in trouble for the fall.
I don't think that's
right. He's Mr. President still, Simon. And if you want to position him,
go ahead. I'll give you the last word, Mark.
Sorry,
he's not going to be successful if he's running as the fiscally responsible candidate against Romney and Ryan. Sorry.
Look, that's Barack calling Simon now, saying, I told you never to do that on the air. That's only for private. All right, guys, thank you both so much.
I thought I turned it off. Sorry, guys.
No worries. Good seeing you both.
Yeah. Okay.
Coming up, two planes moments away from a possible disaster.